Beginning. Before you start training a beginning player, I want you to understand a few simple points. First, keep your training sessions short and allow them to merge into a game or something fun. Young players really just want to have fun, and a little trickery to get them to work never hurts. Make sure they also understand it's okay to do things wrong. Even the greatest players in the world at some point in their life kick the ball the wrong way. Understand you may not visually see results. As a trainer, you may not think you're making progress. However, it may be happening and you just don't see it.
One of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to try and eliminate the problem from the evolution of the soccer kick, which is we push the leg through or we fail to load. Those are the two biggest problems we see: failure to load and a push through. To start that process, we start with a soccer hop. So, Ryan and Lindsay, the first thing I want you to do is you're going to approach the ball. You're going to have busy feet, hop and load. That's all I want you to do. Ready? Go. Busy feet, hop and load. Back up. Again. Keep doing it. Busy feet, hop and load. Again. Hop into it and load. Again. Busy feet, hop and load. Good. Just like you're about to kick the ball, you're going to stare at the ball, hop. That's the soccer hop.
The soccer hop is just simple movement. It is a forward lunge and load. Always start with busy feet on your toes and then forward hop and lunge. Watch Dan very closely. Watch the position of his leg and watch for the soccer hop. We're going to compare this to a kick in just 1 second. Now, does this position look familiar? That's the soccer hop.
Next step we're going to do is learn the V-swing. The first thing we have to do with the V-swing, though, is we have to understand that if we're trying to get a toe down kick or toe out kick, that they're going to hit the ground and it's going to hurt. So we want to go ahead and we want to teach them how to raise the hip so that they can swing through without hitting the ground. And it's a very simple motion. Just want you to stand behind the ball, put it like this, 2 feet together. Now what I want you to do is I want you to just bring your kicking toe back to your heel. Now I want you to raise up on your tippy toe, but I want you to do it by raising your hip. Lift your hip up. I want your toe. Again, do it again. Get your feet together, toe back to your heel, lift your hip until you can point your toe way down. Good. Now what I want you to do is I want you to keep that hip up and I want you to swing through just like this. Go ahead. Keep the V position all the way through. Good. So what we're doing is this motion where we have a V back, V through. The V motion doesn't really change. We just keep that V locked in and we're just going back and forward.
Remember, this is the first time that young players have felt this motion. It's not going to be comfortable and their toe will have a tendency to come forward. That's okay.
Now what we're going to do, let's jump in with the soccer hop and let's just swing the V through and step without kicking a ball. Pretend there's no balls in. Ready? 1, 2, 3, hop, swing and step. Do it again. Again, let me show you. Watch. Hop, swing, step. Keeping the toe down until the last minute. Ready? Hop. Perfect. Now we don't have to jump off our foot. We don't have to have a point where we jump. We don't have to see that. All we want to see is just a swing through and step. We're just going to leave that plant foot behind us. Let's try it again. Ready? Ready, hop. Good. But try and keep that toe pointed down as long as possible. Exaggerate that. Go ahead and do it again. Ready? Ready, hop. That's good. Very good. Here's one way that you can help battle muscle memory. Have the player run through, hop, grab their foot, then release the foot and allow the leg to swing through. A lot of young players have muscle memory already established and it's hard to fight this. This little drill will help. We're going to introduce young players to 3 basic kicks. There's a 4th we're going to introduce them to, but the 3 are the primary. Inside of the foot, outside of the foot, and an angle kick. So let's go ahead and let's do a soccer hop, load the V, and just gently come through with inside of the foot. Ready? On your mark, get set, hop. Good. One more time. Inside of the foot. Hop in. Good. Now let's do outside of the foot. Hop in and swing through. Good. One more time. Outside of the foot. Now, this is where we're going to learn the angle kick. And the reason why we learn the angle kick is because the angle kick allows us to throw our toe down towards the ground without stubbing it. That's going to hurt. So we're going to come in and we're going to do a slight angle kick and we're going to catch the ball right on the sweet spot of our foot that we talked about earlier. So it's going to look like this. We approach the ball from an angle, we hop in, and we just push through and step. Go. Good. Now Ryan, you're extending your legs straight right here. I want to see you try and keep a little bit of a V in it, okay? So when we come through, try and keep a little bit of a V as you go through. Ready? And go. Good. Excellent. And remember, we're approaching from an angle. So our leg's going to come in at an angle and kick, swing, and then it can swing around back to the front. Ready? And go. Excellent. That's the angle kick. Now, let's talk about the 4th kick that we have to be careful about. We don't want to introduce right away, but we're going to need to introduce it, especially when we start teaching the volley kick. And that's the straight kick, where we come in, the leg simply goes straight back and straight forward. Straight back, straight forward. We maintain the V. Straight back, straight forward. We're just going to step through this, hop in, step through. Ready? With no ball. I just want you to hop in, straight back, like this. Go. One more time. Go. One of the big problems we have to deal with young players is they always want to kick hard and we have to slow them down. It's almost impossible. So we came up with a little drill that they have to do slow. And all they're going to do is they can only kick the ball far enough that it just rolls to that person's feet. And that's it. So let's go ahead and let's start with inside of the foot. Now remember, your goal is do a smooth motion through, step, but I want that ball only rolling to their feet. Ready? Go. Perfect. Again, keep your eye on the ball. Good. Try it again. Now I want you to do outside of the foot, same way. Ball should only roll. Now, when we do outside of the foot, you have to keep in mind that we have to tilt our body so that the ball goes this way. So as we kick, we're actually going to be a little bit tilted away, and we're just going to V swing through and step. Slow motion. because I want to show you something. Right now, Ryan, what you're doing is you're hopping in and then you're loading. I want to see this. Hop and load, then step through. One motion. Ready? Hop and load, one motion. There you go. Good. That's it. That's the motion. Good. Now let's switch over to the angle kick or even a lace kick. Either one you want to do. Hop in and be loaded and then just step through with the V, not a kick. Good. Again. Good. Let's make sure that after we make the contact, we just step through. Not jump, just step. Remember, as we hop, what do? Load, that's right. We hop and load at the same time. Good. Keep your leg a little bit bent. Good. Don't let that leg pop straight. Good. That's much better. Remember the knee to the chest feeling? Let's start doing that now. Let's start taking the knee to the chest almost. Beautiful. That is much better form. Excellent. Move back a little bit so you can get a nice big hop and load and knee to the chest. There you go. Don't just bring your knee up. I want you to step through it as you do it. Step through. There. Excellent. That was perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's stop it right there. Now, we start this drill very, very close, and I'm talking 3 or 4 feet to force them to kick soft until they get familiar with it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to step back and back and back until we get more, and then we can let them put a little bit of power into it, but we got to keep coming back in. If you see the form break down wide, bring it back in. Work out, bring it back in. Do that consistently. Let's talk about introducing or taking a child from an actual kick where we just kick with our toe and into kicking with the laces and why that's impossible. It really is impossible because if you go from this kick and now all of a sudden you put your toe down, what happens? And it hurts, doesn't it? I mean, you will sprain the top of your foot. So what we have to do is we have to learn to lift this hip up and we have to learn to go ahead and kick through the ball. The easiest way to do that is with the angle kick, where we come in and we have the ability to throw our toe a little bit to the side, the sweet spot kick. We also will slow it down even more and we'll do the straight kick, but we're gonna do it very slow, and it's not a kick, it's just a step through. And we wanna remember, if we do this fast, what's gonna happen? We're gonna stub our toe and it's gonna hurt. So the first thing we're gonna do, Ryan, is gonna come in just gently, V-swing all the way through. Stare at a point on the ball and just come in an angle and just release your foot and your toe right at the ball. Come back over here and go ahead. Very good. Now come straight behind the ball. You'll notice that what we have is we have cones. We have the cones and we have the ball up so that the child feels like I have to raise this up some, otherwise I'm going to hit the cone. That's the feeling. Force them to lift up the hip some. So now what you're going to do is very gently just come through and step. Keep your eye on the ball the whole time. Allow that little V to swing through. Go ahead. Good. Let's do it one more time. Set one up and I'll set one up. Got it? Angle back over here so that you can even more. I really want an angle so you can come in and just sort of swing and let your body go through very softly. Go ahead and kick an angle one over there. Excellent. Now let's do the straight kick. The straight kick, I want you to go through it and I want you to go towards the net after you're done. So it's going to be, okay? Go ahead and let's see it. Excellent, very good. That's how we go ahead and we keep youth players from stubbing their toe. Use a cone and let them feel that they have to raise that hip up just a little bit to actually contact the ball. It's a great assistance piece. Once we learn how to load in a kick, the next step that we're going to see, or the next problem we're going to see, is the excessive push through that we talked about in the evolution of the kick, which is we come in and then we push through real hard and we even sometimes fall on the ground. Once we learn how to load, it's just a simple motion, just like the golf swing, where we load and we release. And that's what we want to teach young players, so they get rid of that excessive push through. Once contact is made with the ball, anything else beyond that, as far as force goes, doesn't make any difference. The follow through is just a gentle release of the energy. So what we want to do is we want to get them to load and punch. That's what we want to do. Start on the load and punch to help correct that excessive push through. Now Ryan, what I want you to do is, I've got a line set up here. Your shooting foot can't go past that line. You're going to shoot very softly. And all I want you to do is I just want you to just watch the ball, hop in, and just punch. You're going to do it at a medium speed. Just walk in and punch. Go ahead, let's do the first one. Good, very good. Let's go ahead and let's do the rest of them. Good. Your foot can go a little bit through, but try and keep it behind that line. Good. Now remember, we're kicking with a sweet spot, so come in at an angle, get a nice load, and just release at the ball. Good. Excellent. Now, instead of having this push motion, you'll notice that what we've done is we've gone to a load and release. Again, a load, release. More of a snapping motion down. Our whole body turns, snaps at the ball. The follow through is just gentle. Now we're going to set them up again and we're going to let you do a little bit of a light follow through, okay? Good. Again. Excellent. Beautiful. Your whole body's relaxed except for that ankle, which is locked. Just come in and just pop. Excellent. Again. Excellent. Now we've helped cure. Now this drill, anytime you start to see that excessive pushover, pull this drill out. Line them on the line, load and punch and stop. Punch and stop. But we don't want just that motion. We can move it back and say, punch, gentle release. That's the transition. When it comes to beginning players, we don't want to spend a bunch of time on plant foot positioning. However, what we always see in beginning players is the plant foot is positioned too far behind the ball. Here's a simple drill that helps them get used to stepping closer to the ball. Here's a simple way to work on plant foot or your placement foot. All it takes is a ring. You can even take a can of spray paint, paint a circle on the ground, put it down, put the ball on the edge. All we're going to do is we're just going to run up very gently so we don't hurt our foot. Make sure our plant foot goes right inside that circle. Do a gentle kick. Go ahead. Good. Again. Nice and easy. Go ahead. Good. Again. Go ahead. Beautiful. Simple and easy, wasn't it? But it needs to be worked on. Let's let's talk about youth players and introducing them to a volley kick. This is not an easy thing to do, but if you follow the simple steps, it's an easy way to introduce at any age. When we start off with a volley kick, all we do is we hold it with our fingertips, barely with our fingertips. We lean over at the shoulder, and all we're going to do is just step through. That's all we're going to do, a straight volley. Lean, step through. So let's go ahead and let's start. Go ahead and just start through. I want you to hang over just like I showed you. Go ahead and just step through. Now hold it with your fingertips. There you go. Get it low. Just step through. Beautiful. Again. Go ahead. Good. Now the small ball. Beautiful. Now come back. Side of the foot. Good. Keep your motion going forward. I want you to step through it. Keep going through it. Beautiful. Excellent. And that's how we start with the volley. The one thing we want to do, and do it with me, is we want to come back and don't let our foot go past our knee like this. Try it. That's what I want to see. It almost feels like I'm going to fall on my foot. Ready? Try it. Back, stop, knee is in front. Okay, let's try it. Ready? Hold the ball. Just go ahead and bounce them and do that same thing. Beautiful. Good. What happened there? Foot came out. Yeah, we did a flick. Ready? Remember, slow, we just want to do, foot doesn't go in front of the knee. Much better. That was good and low. Very good. Now we're going to work on side of the foot volleys. And it's pretty simple. It's just like a straight volley where we let the knee lead us. But this time we're going to do it with the side of the foot and the knee goes towards the bottom of the net. Very simple. You ready? Show me how you're going to do it without a ball. Just go in. Good. But one thing you can't do is what? Stop your motion. So let's go through and let's do it and keep going towards the net. Go ahead. Good. Good. Try it again. Let the ball go low. Don't rush. Now, we're going to actually bounce the balls towards you, but you've got to concentrate on one thing, and what is that? Knee, right? Yeah, your knee has to lead everything. Your knee leads on when you kick it with your laces. Your knee leads when you go side of the foot. And when we do outside of the foot, same thing. Your knee leads and it'll always go low. Beautiful. Go. Good. Good. Now we're going to talk about, some people call it a roundhouse kick. You can call it whatever you want. But all it is just a side volley like this, straight through. And the easiest way to learn this, and you can do this with me, is all we're going to do. Ready? Let's do it. Hands down by your side for balance. We're just going to lift our leg and step through. Again. Face this way so you don't kick me. We're just going to lift, across, and step. Good. Up, really bring it across, and step. Now, you got to stay light on this toe here because you can't be on your heel. Your weight's got to be on your toe. So when you go like this, you can step because you're almost going to leave that back foot. Good. Okay, now let's try it with a ball. Ready? Good. Ready? Number 3, so watch it carefully. Good. Now do the movement without a ball. Up, lace towards the net, step. Good. Ready? Here comes the ball. Good. Again. Good. And let this, sit back here. Let your whole body turn towards the net when you shoot. Okay? Try it without a ball. There you go, great. Ready? Beautiful. Ready? Comes a number 1-y. Good. Ready? There's another 3. Really watch the ball. Good. Very good. Good job. When you watch the following clip, see if you can identify what we learned. Now, let's watch it in slow motion. Watch closely and you will see that the leg swings through in a V motion, keeping the ball low. This is a very difficult process to teach any player, not just beginning players. We're going to show you this clip in slow motion. Notice all the stutter steps taken prior to the shot. Here is a very basic way to introduce them to this feeling. We want them to realize that they can simply turn one of their strides into a shot and push it through the ball. We start this very, very slow, exaggerating large steps and just push through the ball. Next, we gradually increase the speed, going faster and faster. Young players need to learn the feeling of shooting in stride. You know, it's funny because when it comes to in-stride shooting, it really doesn't matter what age the player is. We always start with slow motion process, stepping through step by step, slowly till our body can feel that one of our strides eventually becomes a shot. Our goal is to remove the stutter steps in between a normal stride and a load and shot. This is a very difficult thing to learn. However, even young players, 7, 8, 9-year-old players can learn this motion. Just remember, this is going to take a long time to learn, but you'll notice one thing about a lot of these shots. The majority of these shots will be low ground shots. They'll be fast and low, and that's actually a benefit. When we talk about working with the advancing player, this is a time where we start to think, well, we need to work more on tactics. And that's true. We need to understand the game more at this point. But unfortunately, we need to remember that most of these kids that are now advancing players come from programs that don't have a basic skill program. And they haven't been working on basic skills. And we've got to evaluate these kids and say, you know what? I've got 14-year-olds that are still kicking with their toe, and something needs to happen. We've got to change this. We've got to go back, bring them all back to square one, evaluate, make sure they're kicking the right way. Now we're moving on to advanced player items, so we're going to explain some of the simple items and how they tie into shooting and how they tie into soccer. The first one we're going to explain is the soccer hop. Why do we do this motion where we hop? Let me show you the 3 key points to it. Number 1 is when you receive a ball in, we're taught to receive a ball and touch it so it's out here so that we can step into it. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes the ball comes in and it's right under our feet. So if the ball is right under our feet, what do we have to do? Well, we have to push it away so we can step and shoot. What we want to be able to do is if we receive a close ball, we want to be able to load and shoot without pushing the ball away from us. And that's what the soccer hop does. The ball's in close, load, shoot. Next, repositioning. If I receive a ball in here and it comes in and I receive it, I have to turn the ball and turn my body to actually pass over to my left. If I receive the ball in close, with the soccer hop, while I load, I can turn at the same time. So if I receive the ball, again, I can hop and I can turn. Receive, hop, and turn. Receive, hop, and I'm loaded to shoot. Great for wall passes. Point number 3 is one-touch shooting. You receive a ball in and you're here, the average soccer player, whether it's beginning or even advancing soccer player, wants to receive the ball and then do several touches until they feel comfortable at the point to load. And what we want them to be able to do is receive, one touch, hop, load, and shoot. Fast shooting, that's the key to it. But you have to understand the soccer hop. You have to understand that the first thing you do is right after your touch, load. Touch, load, shoot. So let me go ahead and show you, give you one example. Lindsay, why don't you go ahead and pass me in a ball? So I'm just gonna touch. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. There you go. Excellent. Hop and leap. Get rid of that extra step. Touch. There you go. Perfect. Touch. Shoot. That's the motion. We can receive, hop, and turn and shoot. That's where the soccer, it's actually a pivot as well as a hop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to form a triangle and we're going to learn how to receive, hop, and pass. We're going to hop and pivot while we load and pivot. So I receive, I hop, pivot, and load. Receive, hop, pivot, and load. Again, you've got to start this in slow motion. It does not work fast in the beginning. So let's go ahead and try it. Ready? Lindsay, pass me a ball and I'll start. Touch, hop, go. Touch, hop, go. Touch. We try and do it with one step. Touch, hop, go. Touch, hop, go. Pivot on your hop. Great. Advancing players not only need to understand the soccer hop, but how it's used in preparing for passes and kicks. Don't make the mistake that so many people do. They overlook the soccer hop as just a trivial part of the soccer kick. It is vital for every kick in soccer. The V-swing is a critical part of the soccer kick. It maintains or it holds energy as it swings through. It also helps us deliver a lower shot. If we break that V-swing down and we flip that foot out, the ball's going to go high, like 70% of finishing shots do. Maintaining that V-swing delivers power and helps keep that ball low. Now let's talk about the V-swing when it comes to the advancing player. This is where we're going to step it up. The V-swing is heavily exaggerated. It comes way back and way forward. I want that knee coming up to the chest. When we do this, be careful because several times we'll have knees hit chins. So you have to watch out for that. Way back, way forward. Way back, way forward. Lindsay, go ahead and give me that motion. Toe to the ground. Drag your toe through the grass. Way back. There you go, way back. Now what I'm going to do is stay right there, is I'm going to show you the difference between a high power shooter and an average power shooter. What I want you to do is put your hand on my shoulder and I want you to do load back with a V-swing, toe down. This right here, feel that pressure? That's a high power shooter. That's high power. The load, the thigh, everything, the tension is there, it's in it. And it comes through and it explodes right there and then it releases. We try and not let the leg go straight out. There's still a little bit of a V, but we want to load heavy, explode, and follow through. One way to also do this is to hop with your V-swing. So what we're going to do, and this is hard, Lindsay's never done this one, but we're going to swing and hop. Hop forward, hop back. Hop forward, back. Go ahead and try it. Now she'll probably fall, but go ahead. Hard, isn't it?
Yes, very.
Very, very hard. Okay. Ryan, run over here real quick. I want you to stand right here. I want you to do the same drill. Do the V-swing and hop forward, hop back. Forward and back, go. He's done it before. Now, Lindsay and I, Ryan, you can step back. We're going to go shoulder to shoulder. Now what we're going to do is we're going to swing as partners to help our balance. Ready? Go. Hop. Hop. Hop as we go forward.
Advancing players need to feel the hip, thigh, knee, and lower leg all working together as one. One way to help get this feeling is to move to the ground. We perform the V-swing without a ball and with a ball, always stressing the movement of the hip, thigh, knee, and leg as one piece together.
Stop. Now we're going to put a ball in front of that. Integrating the V-swing into the kick is very important on the straight kick. It's important on every kick. The side of the foot, the straight kick, the outside of the foot, but it's extremely important on a straight kick. So what I'm going to do is we're all three going to shoot, but we're going to start with the hopping motion, and then we're going to go forward with our bodies, and we're going to, instead of hopping, we're just going to come off the plant foot. So Ryan, why don't you go first? Do a couple V-swings and hops, and then I really want you to stay down, let your knee come up to your chest and go through. Nice and gentle, not too hard of a shot. Go ahead. Very good. Yeah, hop, hop, hop. Very good. Same thing. All we're going to do is we're going to hop, hop, stare at the ball. Okay, again with the V-swing, this time with the inside of the foot. Now you have to remember, inside of the foot, when I say a V-swing, there's a V-swing, the hip, thigh, everything's into it. However, we turn our leg and knee outward all the way through. When we load, it's out. When we come through, it's out. So let's go ahead. Ryan, give me some side of the foot, hop, hop, and then go in and shoot. Okay, go ahead. Excellent. Lindsay, same thing. Hop, keep that foot facing the goal the whole time. Good. Same thing. I'm going to come in, hop, 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 and swing. Same thing. The V-swing and the volley. The V-swing is absolutely critical in a volley because we have to have that lace going towards the net the entire time. And we just can't pop and we just can't kick because the lace will be going up. That's why we want to V-swing gently through it. Critical, critical, critical. Head down the whole time. Knee to chest, knee to chest, knee to chest. 3 times I said that. This is all we're going to do. We're going to come in, just sort of toss the ball, not worry about the shot, worry about the form. We're just going to come in and toss it. Knee to chest. keeping that down and not wanting to strike a ball while we're up is the critical movement here. Go ahead and throw me a ball from there. And this is what we're going to do. My knee came right up to here because my head was down and the ball went dead low, because that allows me to keep that lace in the same position all the way through. The volley shot, all the way through, even on side of the foot, all the way through, forward motion.
I want you to understand why perfecting your volley shots is so critical, and why we slow them down to basic motions. First, take a look at a very advanced player making 2 volley kicks. Both kicks seem very good. However, when we slow them down and look at the ball flight, you'll notice that one shot is on goal and the other is high. The minor difference in execution is very slight. However, the results difference is huge.
Introduction to the volley is pretty simple, but what we need to do first is we've got to teach you the wrong way to kick. And let's look at the wrong way to kick. Lindsay, what I want you to do is when you come in and I want you to show them the wrong way, I want you to stop your body motion and kick a ball like 90% of youth players do. So I'm just going to bounce you a ball, half volley, full volley, doesn't matter, just gently come in and kick it. There we go. Ryan, same thing. Ready? Just come in gently, stop, and do a volley. Good. Now, here's what we want to try and correct. Normally on a volley kick, we see players stop and kick. That arc angle that we always talk about, now our foot's following the upward motion, and like we said, 71% of volley shots or finishing shots in a game go where? Over the net. Because our body motion has stopped and our angle of our kick is upward. Inside, top of foot, outside of foot, it doesn't matter. We're going to correct that by doing 2 things. Forward motion and allowing the thigh and knee to be the leading factor. Here's a simple way that we can go ahead and fix a volley kick. These are actually drain spout extensions, and you can buy them. They come about 3 feet long, cost about $5. Take a saw and cut them off into different lengths. You can do them at 3 inches, 10 inches, all different sizes, and guess what they do? They hold up a soccer ball very nicely, and they're lightweight. What I like to see, and it helps with plant foot positioning, is I like to see the ball frozen in time. A big mistake that we make is players step behind the ball when they volley kick. What that does is it forces the upward motion. We want you to crowd the ball. Again, we're stepping closer to the ball and we're just stepping through. We're not kicking. We don't want to kick. If we kick, we have to pause and our motion stops and the ball will always go high. So what we want to do, simply step in close to the ball, step through, and what helps us is we step over the tube with our toe pointed down on a straight kick, or our toes sideways all the way over the tube. So after the ball leaves, we step over it. That's the feeling that we want to get. We want to understand that we want to pause, let the thigh and knee carry through, and keep going forward. All we're going to do on this is we're going to come in, laces, our knee and our thigh aim towards the bottom of the net. That's what pushes through. We push our knee and our thigh. The foot stays behind it the whole time. Come in. That's the motion. Side of the foot. That's the motion, outside of the foot. You'll notice that my foot doesn't release and I don't kick. I'm pausing it and just pulling through that V-swing. Every single shot will go low if you can master that. All right, now we're actually going to kick the ball. And what we want to do is we want to do this in slow motion. I'm going to do the first one, and what I'm going to do is we're going to learn a straight volley, where our leg comes straight back, straight forward, and we always keep going forward. We keep our toe down until we step over the cone and then down. So the motion looks like this. That's where we want to be. We want to step through that with our toe down and then down. When we eventually speed this up, we can actually come inside of the foot, and we can do this with a very hard push, and we can add power to it later. The shot will be hard, but if we focus on the top quadrant of the ball, we let our body never stop, let our knee go towards the bottom, it's always low 100% of the time. And we just simply go. Very powerful shot. You don't have to kick it hard. The ball goes low every single time.
Remember, the correct form on a volley kick can never be learned until we do this step. We have to use the frozen ball or very slow motion reprogramming phase first. The next step is to introduce a slower bouncing ball. More control, the ball is simply bounced in front of us. Then we move to balls being thrown towards the player. Anytime you see the foot flipping through, it's time to back up, slow down, and reprogram again.
What I've got behind my back is the best 49 cents you'll spend on your soccer team or your soccer player on their entire career. And what it is just marker tape. And I want you to go buy this at Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware store, tie it to one side and tie it at about 2 to 3 feet. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pull it all the way across. And we're going to tie it off here. Now, the point of this and the game of it is no goal counts during your practice unless it goes under the tape. Every shot has to be low. It's easy to shoot high. It's easy to shoot over the net, but it's hard to shoot low. It's a wonderful drill, and if you can get soccer players in this mentality, it's going to do wonders for you. Normally, 70% of these balls are going to go up high, and what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get every one of them low and under that tape. Slow motion, exaggerated. I'm going to do front, side, anything I can do, but I'm going to exaggerate and try and let my hip step through. Okay, now that we've got this line set up, let's use it for another transition, which is going to be staying light on the plant foot. We want to keep it light. Anytime the plant foot, as we say, grows roots, you have this motion. A player comes in, they shoot, and they lean back. Again, they shoot and they lean back. We see that so often. And all we want, don't call it a plant foot, call it a release foot, call it a touch foot, whatever you want to call it, to change that mindset where it's just a touch and leave. When we come in, touch and leave. This is a great way to get them used to this. Good. Next one. Keep your momentum going forward. You're going to have to come back around it. Good. Keep your V-swing. Don't let that leg pop out on me. Good. Again. All right, let's talk about the plant foot, and let's talk about the plant foot in relation to, do I step in front of the ball, even, or behind? Simple rule of thumb. Most of the time, I want to see some part of the ankle actually lined up with some part of the ball. So when we come in, when we actually are going to plant next to a ball, either it's the back of the ankle, front of the ankle, or dead even. I'm going to give you a lot of leeway here because there are a lot of different kicks. But go ahead and let's show. Just come in and just step next to the ball with your ankle pretty much. There's a good plant. Now hold that right there. That's the average foot plant when you look at advanced players. They're going to be stepping right next to the ball. They don't step behind it. They do step in front of it, but they almost never step behind it. Okay, go ahead and step back. The one time we are going to step behind it is if we have to shoot like a keeper. If we have to shoot a very, very high shot, that's when we might actually step behind it because we have to have that upward arc angle. So hop in and let's have your foot plant right about here. You're going to see keepers. When keepers come in, a lot of time, their foot's going to be behind the ball because they want to do a very high arching shot. But when they come in, you'll notice that when they strike, their strike is on the upward angle, of the ball. So they strike, and right after the strike, they're going upward. That's why it's behind. Now come in, right next to it. Now because we're right next to the ball, as our foot comes in and strikes, you're actually striking dead on the bottom of this arc angle. Now let's talk about a moving ball. You're running down the field as hard as you can. Guess what's moving with you? The ball. Does the ball stop before you strike the ball? No, and that's what we want to avoid. So what do we have to do? Well, have you ever seen a plant foot where someone placed their foot that looks like this? If they're in a full stride, they will, and that's a correct plant. Actually coming in and planting way in front of the ball, because if you're at full speed, that ball is going to be moving and it's going to come through. Players must become comfortable with planting their plant foot ahead of the ball. This must be practiced and will not come naturally. Watch this clip closely and watch how far away the plant foot is set before the ball comes in. Players should also learn to strike an incoming ball softly. Here we have a cone set up at approximately 60 yards away from the goal. Each player is instructed to plant early and strike soft at the ball. You'll notice that most of the balls at about a 50% strike easily carry the distance. Remember, failing to plant early will cause you simply to miss the ball in many cases. We're going to talk about the plant foot and where it points. Toe always points towards where we want to shoot. That's every kick in soccer except for one. Only one that's different is the outside of the foot. The outside of the foot, we point slightly off to the left if we're going to kick it straight ahead and we're a right-footed kicker. The ball is going to go off at an angle. So actually our shoulder turns in, we point away from our target very slightly, and we strike the ball through, but the ball is actually going to go this way. Again, every time we kick, our toe points where we want to go, except for outside of the foot. In stride shooting, we talk about it all the time, but it's the hardest thing to learn, even in advancing players. We've got a bunch of footage of great players that can't do this because they don't practice it. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do it if you don't practice it. It takes a lot of work. It took a long time for me to even get close to being able to do this. But if you watch the top players, especially big players, they have a tendency to super stride and then shoot. That's what we're going to show you step by step. First, you never slow down. Second, step past the ball. Third, your last step as you load is a load, but we don't shuffle. Your last step in stride is a load. I'm running, it's an automatic load, and I just swing through with my head down. I want the feeling of the knee to the forehead. That's what I want in this shot. Knee to the forehead, and keep moving through. We don't stop. Keep those certain points in mind where we're stepping past the ball. As we step past the ball in one of our strides, we're simply going to swing through with our head down like this.
The first thing we're going to do is take a look at players trying this at a slower pace. All we're trying to get them to do is step past the ball and make one of their strides a load. Now, we're going to look at players increasing the speed. You'll notice that most players struggle with this simply because they have a hard time stepping past the ball and creating that natural load from one stride. In-stride shooting is absolutely key for all players to learn. It's not natural. They will resist this, and it's hard for even advanced players to learn this form. The wonderful benefit about in-stride shooting and stepping past the ball is that the majority of shots will be low and fast. We're about to show you a few clips. The first two are of a ball traveling about 30 miles per hour and 50 miles per hour. The next two are of a shooter taking two shots, one without looking at a target and the other with looking at a target. See if you can grasp our point. Our point, increasing power or ball speed has little change or effect on the reaction time for keepers and defenders. However, removing the need to visually identify targets and removing hesitation time greatly increases the level of surprise. We're going to show you how to become more of a reactionary shooter by 1. Using your natural radar, 2. Shooting through traffic, and 3. Shooting with close pressure.
Talking about the human radar, my Jack Russell actually allowed us to borrow his ball, and his bandana, and we're going to use it to talk about the radar. The mind is an extremely powerful thing, but it has to be exposed to what it's trying to understand before it can understand it. What we're going to do is a simple drill. Every player needs to do this. They don't need to watch it. Every player needs to do this. Now what I want you to do is just turn and throw at the target. Just look at it, turn and throw. Throw it at the bottom of the target. Now, put on the blindfold. Now she's got on her blindfold. Here's the ball. You're in the same spot that you were before. Now we're going to move to the left. Follow me. Stop. Move back. You're back where you were before. Now we're going to move to the right. Stop. Come back. Keep your back to the goal. Okay, you're right where you were before. Now I want you to turn and throw the ball. Come back. Whichever hand you want. Now I just want you to turn, same way you did, and throw at the target. It takes time, and you have to work on this, but you'll start to understand you don't have to see something to understand where this is. You will eventually understand an approximate location of where you are and where your target is. Even though it's to your back, we understand that I know where it is. I know where it is. I know where it is. That's the sense that we want to have with a soccer player. It helps us become a reactionary shooter without having to visually see and confirm a target before we shoot. Part of the feeling with the radar inside of us and knowing where we are is the ability just to shoot. Not to have to visually identify our target, but just to take a ball and immediately fire it at goal. The reduction in time versus how hard we kick a shot is amazing, and we're going to show you. The first thing we're going to do is you're going to receive a ball, you're going to touch the ball, you're going to visually recognize your target, come back down and strike. The second series is going to be, as soon as your ball comes into you, you're going to turn and strike without looking at the target. Got it?
While you watch the following clips, I want you to understand one thing. Visually confirming your target not only adds time to your shot, but also takes your focus away from the ball. Often, we must take additional touch when our eyes return to the ball. This process can add up to 5 full seconds.
Next drill, here's the progression. Ball's going to come in, one touch, keep your eye on the ball, and shoot. Try and keep it fast and with one movement. Okay?
Now, watch what happens when we remove any touch at all. You'll notice that the preparation time for keepers and defenders goes from about 2 seconds down to almost 0.
Now we're going to put a live person in and we're going to add pressure to it. Offense, defense. Ball comes in, both are going to move a little bit towards the ball. We're actually going to make them freeze a little bit here so we don't move off camera. Normally they both move towards the ball. Ball's going to come in. Defender, you're going to come in because you see the ball. She's going to block, touch, and shoot without looking at the goal. I don't have the time to look. I've got to touch it fast and I've got to move fast. As soon as I touch, shoot. Soccer hop. Hop, load, shoot. Use that soccer hop to pivot and load. Facing here, hop, load, shoot. This is one of my favorite drills. We call this Big Brother, Little Sister. We're mad at Big Brother and Little Sister. We want to hit them with the ball. Not really. But we don't want to use real players for this drill, so we use boxes. You can go out and what you can do is we've bought, they're $1, $1.50. They're about 12 by 12 or 14 by 14 by 36 boxes. Stand them up and now you have defenders. It's a great way to practice, and what we're trying to do, it's okay to touch into traffic and hit someone. When you shoot, you don't worry about your crowd. Don't feel like you have to have this big room to shoot. That's what we want. Touch, shoot. If it hits someone, it's okay. 50% air, 50% people, 50% chance of it going in the net. That's a great percentage. I'm going to feed a ball in. I've got 3 diagonal sections in here that I'm going to feed into. So let's go into number 1. You ready? Great. Great. Now, there's a good example. 3 shots, all air. Doesn't always happen that way, but that's a perfect example. Great. Second spot, over here more. Touch it in. Great, perfect. That's what I want to see. Ready? Perfect. Only one box was hit. A great way to practice.
I talk about the straight kick all the time, and it's one of my passions in teaching when it comes to soccer. Unfortunately, with US players, it's simply just overlooked. We might teach it once in a while, show it to a player, but we don't program it into players. Very few players. Lindsay's a good example of a player that had a coach from South Africa, and he was hugely popular, hugely focused on the straight kick. That's all he taught. And she is a beautiful striker of the ball. You can see it in players. I see players that are 17, 18, even into college level players that can't perform a straight kick properly. Now, they may be able to come up and do it once or twice, but I mean in a game situation, they have no load. They've never been repetitively trained on the straight kick.
Well, the first personal trainer only taught the straight kick because that's what was most effective and that's what he grew up with over in South Africa. So the straight kick is what they use all over the world except here.
When I was in my young teens, I had a coach that was from Scotland. He'd come over to America to start coaching soccer here. He was very, very big on fundamental skills, the straight kick that most Europeans use, but we in America tend to brush over if we can. So he was very big on me learning exactly what was going on with my feet when I was actually touching the soccer ball.
Understanding the difference between an angle kick and a straight kick. It's one of my pet peeves. We have to learn the straight kick. The straight kick is straight through and straight back with a large load in the leg, and it comes straight through. Angle kick is anytime we start to swing that leg outward. Casey is a natural outward shooter. She shoots with the instep. She naturally shoots, and she shoots at a little bit of an angle when she comes down, and she shoots at an instep. Now, you had a coach from Scotland who, after he coached you, went and played professional soccer, but one of the things he was absolutely dead set on was what? Making sure that you could learn the straight kick. Now, there probably weren't a lot of players that actually utilized that because they didn't drill on it enough. Even yourself, I'll bet you found, well, you know what? I never really pulled it out of my arsenal a lot because I never drilled it and drilled it and drilled it. It was a last resort. Exactly. Same thing. Now, you're different. I have a hard time getting her to do an angle kick. When I tell her to do an angle kick, she gives me this look like. She comes in and almost every shot in some form or manner is a straight kick. It's a straight kick. If I tell Lindsay to do an angle kick with a sweet spot, she comes in and then she ends up doing a modified straight, which is fine. You're gonna see that. You're gonna see some people even teach a modified straight kick, where instead of coming in and striking with the laces, we actually come through at a little bit of an angle and we turn our foot and strike it here. Some people teach that. I don't believe you should teach it to youth players. I believe you teach the two basic kicks. Learn a straight, learn an angle. After you master those, go play all you want. Do anything you want with it. But those are the two basic kicks. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you exactly how to figure out, am I doing a right straight kick? What I've got here is I've got a rebounder, I've got a soccer hop set up with a straight line. And we're gonna get in and we're gonna strike it, and we're gonna strike it, and we're gonna strike it, and we're gonna do it over and over again, slow motion. Then we're gonna move up faster. Then we're gonna move up faster because we have to reprogram. One of the things that every player must learn is the difference between a muscle memory and just seeing how to do something. If you get shown how to do something, as soon as you get into a game, you won't do it. A ball comes at you, it's muscle memory. You have to reprogram that. That's why we go back, especially on advancing and advanced players. They have so much muscle memory and so many habits. We've got to go back to step one and break it down.
The first step when working with an advancing player is to slow down this motion, place a line on the ground, and observe the path of the foot.
We make any corrections that we need to with either the path or position of the foot. Corrections may include a foot path that swings outside or inside the line, or an ankle turn. Whether the foot is turned inward or outward, that is wrong. The foot should be locked in a straight position with the laces facing the ball. Step number 2, the player strikes down the line, maintaining a straight leg and straight foot straight down the line. Step number 3 is we move back slightly, move the ball off to the side of the line, still reinforcing that there is a straight line that the leg and foot need to travel. Next, we shoot on goal with a straight line still present, increasing the speed and power. Remember, we want the line on the ground to reinforce in the player's mind that this is a straight path. Let's talk about the transition in the straight kick. There is definitely a transition in the straight kick from a beginning to an advanced player. When we start with the straight kick, we have a smooth step-through motion. There is little explosion at the ball, and we simply want the player to maintain a V-swing through the shot. As the player advances, we can then work on having a strong explosion point at the ball. This eventually becomes a very quick, powerful, explosive shot. You'll notice, as this starts to happen, the ball will be very powerful and have little spin. Using a straight kick, but we're going to use a straight kick and we're going to play with striking the ball off center. We're going to watch the spin and we're going to watch how the ball deflects. Deflection is not a turn because of pressure differences. Deflection is I push you on the right side, you go to the left. That's what deflection is. I push the ball on the right side, it goes left. So when we strike the ball on the right side, two things are going to happen. We're going to strike it on the right side. The ball is going to deflect to the left, but it's also going to have a right to left spin because we also have friction on our foot. And the friction is going to apply torque and the ball is going to spin. Now the only thing you have to concentrate on for this exercise is maintain your straight line, and I want you to strike the ball right about here. And I want you to watch your foot strike the ball. I don't want you to watch for results on this, okay? That's the hard part because you're going to want to see what happens. I don't want you to see what happens. I want you to watch your foot strike perfectly right here, okay? So we're coming through and we're going to do pretty close to a full speed kick. We're just going to stare at that right side, strike, and watch our foot hit it. You have to come in perfectly straight. Watch this next kick in slow motion. What we want you to learn is that whether it's intentional or unintentional, striking the ball off center will cause a huge amount of deflection. Casey is approximately 25 feet away from goal, and watch how far the ball veers to the left. There's only one way that an advancing or an advanced player can learn the straight kick. It's through repetitive motion training. Repeating this kick over and over, time and time again, will slowly and gradually program the muscle memory. Here's another great visual summary as to why we have to have a straight kick in our arsenal. Keep in mind during this drill that Lindsay has been told to only use a straight kick. Casey has been told that she must approach the ball from a 45-degree angle and use an angle kick. I want you to look at this picture. We have a line on the left and cones on the right. I want you to imagine that both are defenders, one on the left and one on the right. You'll notice that with a straight kick, we can continue a straight travel, the ball stays in front of us, and we have the ability to strike. However, when we move to an angle kick, we are forced to either step across the line into a defender's path or push the ball over the cones into a defender's path. This is a crucial element for any great striker. Now we've got all this information, how do we deliver it to the players? We've got to understand as coaches that players have very short attention spans when it comes to lectures. We need to keep them short and pick one subject at each practice. Keep this information phase to about 5 or 10 minutes. Then move on and apply it to a physical activity. When we start to work with the beginning player, we want to keep it basic, we want to keep it simple. All we want to do is expose the basic player to the simplest of moves. We want to repeat this over and over at every practice in the beginning until it becomes a muscle memory. First, we start with a soccer hop. Then we move to the V-swing. Now we combine the two and we do a pass-through without a ball. Now we put a ball in front and we only allow the ball to be kicked 3 to 5 feet. You want to perform each kick and make sure that the leg and foot is positioned properly. Now we can also move to the volley. Simple, small movements, emphasizing the step through. Perform this system at the beginning of every practice with young players. If you do this, it'll become a muscle memory and you'll see great results. Now we have a little twist for you when it comes to working with the advancing player. Advancing players might resist these basic movements at first, but they must perform them. When players first arrive at practice, we want you to pair them up, and we want you to pair them up in a certain way. We want you to pair up your stronger players with your weaker players. You must assign the pairs. They also must be assigned right foot to right foot and left foot to left foot. These pairs of players are responsible for watching each one of the players' movements. As an example, when we do the soccer hop, each player inspects the foot on the backswing to make sure it's loaded properly. They indicate by saying OK. We allow this buddy system for checks to make sure that every player is performing the proper movement. The coach can't watch it all the time. Again, we always start with the basics. We start with the soccer hop, the V-swing, and all 4 swings. Next, we move to the ball. We perform all 4 kicks. With the advancing player, however, we allow the balls to be moved farther and farther apart. This distance can be quite large. It trains the players to maintain proper form even when the kick is strong. Don't forget, however, it must start small and in slow motion. If you see the player starting to break proper form, they must come back in to a smaller distance. When it comes to the volley kick, we start the same way. We start with small distances, performing each volley. We want the players to understand the difference between low and high on each foot. Now, here's where the twist comes in. After 5 or 6 practices of performing this routine, we're going to switch feet. Now, the same routine has to be done with the weak foot. Be prepared to see some horrible kicks, even in advanced players. If you really want to take an advancing player to the advanced level, they must be able to perform every single kick properly with both the strong and weak foot.